Well, I don't know whether the music sets the tone for love, but it's time to do love.
It does.
It does, but it's too giddy for me.
Is the chi that you don't understand?
Probably. As I said, the tone doesn't.
Yeah, and for some people, love is reckless. Jiggy. Like, it can go.
Reckless.
Do you know about reckless love of God?
Yeah, so. But
exactly, it can go all corners and do all things. So, Kokuyes, we know that you're
produce
there.
The music?
Yeah,
because I don't know
really.
what your defense is about right now.
I mean, it's
I thought you could have allowed me to have my
it
shine.
means that
Jesus
the
Christ.
little things you do, honey, yes. Because I know little things don't get to you. Koku, just say that, let's move on with our lives.
We're talking about nagging wives today. No, we're not talking about nagging wives today. It's time to do Love Doctor series, and my guests are in the studios again. I said from the beginning, these are not faces you have not seen. No, okay, this is not a face you have not seen before, but he has added another, and so this. As for this one, you're going to be in love with them, and of course, we thank all the counselors that have come through. Reverend Dr. Yautitin, Mrs. of course, Nikema, Mr. and Mrs. Nikema, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Asa. Thank you for coming. Of course, it's time to do Reverend and Mrs. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Reverend Sowa. Is that okay? Yeah. That's fine. Or Reverend Mr. and Mrs.
Reverend Counsellor.
Yes, and he's also a counselor. She's a counselor.
Oh wow!
We're in for a ride today. Now, today we're talking about today's marriage, the 21st century marriage. Again, there's been a lot of, call it offense, against us, for us to say that, well, the marriages of yesteryears lasted. As for us, 2 minutes we want to divorce, 3 minutes we want to divorce, 2.5 minutes we want to divorce. And we're tired. There are quite a number of things. There are issues of lack of effective communication. There are issues of shifting gender roles. There are issues of work-life balance and whether or not, yesterday we talked about money, 50-50, 40-40, or whatever it is. There's also the family-in-law conflicts. There are mental health concerns. There are issues of addictions, and lots of them. I don't know whether we can do that in 40 minutes, but first off, just as we have asked, how many years have you been doing the Lord's work?
Well, this is our 17th year in marriage.
Hey.
Yeah. By the grace of God.
Yeah.
It is well with our souls. Amen? Amen.
It has to be.
Of course, and again, where did you meet? I've not asked you this question before.
Koku, you know, when this kind of question is asked, because of short memory, I listen to my wife a lot.
Okay.
One of the successes I've chalked in life is because I listen to her a lot.
Okay.
So I would defer that to her because she has details for all these things that transpired over the years. Right. Yeah.
Rev says he has forgotten, so we should let you.
She would have to remember.
You'd have to
after here.
After here. But where first did you meet?
Okay, so my late brother was preparing to get married.
Okay.
And he said he has a friend, he wants me to co-MC him for his marriage.
Okay.
So we're talking, planning the wedding, how would be MC. And then after before the wedding, yes, just before the wedding, I had to meet him, and he was living very close to my brother's house. So I went there to meet him from campus. I was in school then. And he just went like, I want to marry you, and I want to marry you next year. That was it.
Who said that?
He did.
Rev?
Yes.
Hey, Rev has a heart like that.
I'm surprised.
Should see.
He didn't go like, I'm in love with you and I'm having butterflies, I can't sleep. No, he just went straight. I want to marry you, and I want to marry you next year. But prior to that, during my teen years, I was very fortunate to get very good mothers and fathers to mentor me. So they took me through praying for your spouse very early, and I learned, and I was convinced. I told myself I didn't want to date for long. I had all my qualities. I went for all the seminars. I read all the books. Any book they brought my way, I had to read them. So when he said that, I was convinced, because as part of my prayers, I told God, when I meet him, I want to know he's the one.
Okay.
And all the things I asked, I got them.
Okay.
By the grace of God.
I don't know why I don't like the idea of co-MC.
Yeah.
Like from when I was young. Otherwise, I probably would have also had an opportunity to marry my co-MC.
You know, at the wedding, at a point, my other brother was the best man, so he just whispered into my ears. He said, did we bring you people here to MC the wedding or to come and talk about love? My people, hurry up, let's go.
But tell me, I mean, that before Biadala comes in, you knowing, you going there and just straight, I mean...
Yeah, Coco, it was because of the fear of telling somebody you love the person tells you, let me go and think about it, I don't love you. If you are rejected by proposing love, you know, it's a different thing. Yeah. But if you are rejected by proposing marriage, of course, I tried to tell you I wanted to settle down with you. You said, no, that's fine. Okay. Far back in school, it was very difficult for me to propose to her. That was what kept me. For the fear of the fact that she would say no. So when I met her, listen, I want to marry. So we dated for 6 months. We married in the same year, right? Yeah. Yes.
And you've been doing this for 7. So it's got nothing to do with
how long?
Ever men or Ga men not having butterflies.
No.
Please, nobody should come for me. I'm not. Ga men and ever men don't have butterflies there. Tell me. Said Coco, newsflash, they'll finish me today.
But Coco, at a point, I really respected the way he came out, because at that particular time I had most of my friends, I was hearing people are dating and the men were not saying why, they were not giving reasons for which they are hanging around the women as to whether they wanted marriage or they are just there, you know. So I didn't want to be in any relationship that was not defined.
Okay. Great.
So right from the word good, the definition was good for me.
It was clear.
Yeah.
It's clear.
Wow.
I'm blessed.
I know, right? Yeah, you're
Very blessed.
I mean, because you hear a lot of people say, you have to date, 6 months is too short, but you just got it right.
I don't believe in long dating, stuff, because the one you are dating can reveal him or herself to you at the point he wants you to know him or her.
Okay.
The person may never reveal everything. Okay. You see, it is said that relationship blindfolds us, but marriage opens our eyes. Those who are in wants to go out, and those who are out wants to come in. Now, why is it that people people who are once in love will say today I want to come out? Because they never saw what they are seeing now. Okay. Number 2, the principles attached to marriage are not being applied. There are principles. It will work for the unbeliever just as it works for the believer, so long as you apply the principles in the Word of God. That is why unbelievers who do not believe in God will pay tithe, and it works for them because it is carved out. It's a principle. It works for everybody. Yeah.
Is that a challenge with marriages of yesteryears? That because our mothers were not this knowledgeable as we are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they were. Even if they were reading, there was not enough materials that what we have. We have commentaries. We have a lot of things. So what's the difference, though? Knowledge abounds.
Yeah. So if you ask me, I would say that when it comes to marriage, 30% has to do with selection, 70% is management. Why am I saying this? Our fathers of old, like you rightly said, many of them didn't really get the education we have today. I mean, we are in a fast world where you have information at your fingertips, right? They didn't have those opportunities. They selected and they managed. Irrespective of whatever happens, I'm committed to this relationship. I want to stay in the relationship. Today, we have options. And unfortunately, we are experiencing the secular view of marriage as compared to the sacred view of marriage. With the secular view of marriage, 2 becomes 1, okay? And that becomes a contract. You cheat on me, I cheat on you. You lie to me, I lie to you. But with the sacred view of marriage, it takes 3 for the 2 to become 1. So in the secular view, your actions becomes my reactions. But in the sacred view, I respond to God because of what you have done when He asks me a question. So I don't hit at you because you have offended me and therefore I'm leaving the relationship. I have to go to God. God, this is what's happening. Can you save my marriage? But with the secular, you do me, I do you. That's kind of game we play. So you see, the Bible says that those who God joins together, what happens? Exactly. So with the sacred view, the third party joins you together. By the secular view, who joins you together? There's no third person in there. So it's easy to divorce. And you see, in as much as some of our forefathers were fetish priests, they actually indirectly applied biblical principles. And they didn't even know they were applying them. And it worked for them. Principles work for everybody. So long as, just like math, right? If you are doing the simultaneous equation, you use the elimination method, you get the correct answer. Somebody uses the substitution method, you arrive at the same correct answer. So principles are laws. And if you obey the laws, you do well. That's what happened in their era.
Wow.
But today, we don't see same.
But how come it looks as though Christian marriages rather, not necessarily 21st century, but Christian marriages, even though we have the God factor, the third person in it, it seems to be going down. You see lots of articles. Why is that Christian marriages are breaking more than that in the world and all that? Is it that God is not stepping in or he's looking from afar? What's happening?
Right. In fact, I was privileged to speak to one justice of a court. He tells me that he's been able to, should I use the word, close down about 1,000 and something Christian marriages.
About 1,000?
1,000 plus, yes. Now let me say this. We assume they are Christian marriages. If truly that was a Christian marriage, then there is no cause for divorce. Listen, you can marry somebody you don't even like, you are not attracted to. And if you truly apply the biblical principles, you will have a successful marriage. It's the principles.
So marrying at the altar doesn't make it a Christian marriage?
It doesn't make it a Christian marriage. I can come to your home and bless your marriage. As a matter of fact, if we have the consent of both parents, and then we come to bless it in your bedroom, in your hall, in your veranda, it's okay to go. You don't need to come to the altar, for it to be blessed. So long as the man of God is there. In fact, even your father can bless your marriage. And it's okay.
I want to add something to what he's just saying. Most Christian marriages, or Christians feel that their marriages can survive on only prayer. So we are not studying. We are not putting in the effort. We are not sacrificing. We are praying. And God would only work if you are ready to move. So I tell people that prayer is good, but hard work makes your prayer more effective. So put in the hard work and then go to God in prayer. Because if you do 2 weeks at work when you're supposed to work for a whole month of 30 days or 31 days, how then you go to your boss to request for a full month's salary? So play your role as a wife, play your role as a husband. All that is expected of you, not because your spouse deserves it, but because God expects you to play that role. And then go to God in prayer. It works.
I was going to ask the issue. If you're watching us, you can also get ready to call us. You have questions on your mind, you have submissions. You can share with our guests, Mr. and Mrs. Sowa. I was going to ask about the issue of what he started saying, the issue of marriage from today and of yesterday's, and it just threw me off because the question I was going to ask there, Charlie, it would be non-fair because the lack of intentionality and the issue also of commitment. It's difficult sometimes to look at the challenges with your work, with your woman, and still go ahead to commit. There must be some special ingredients in you to want to stay in something when you know that you have tried, you have worked, but you can't see results. It should take something special, or it's just my mind that is playing games with me.
When you know that you're reporting to God, and if God is pleased with your actions, obviously family should be pleased, society should be pleased. But our expectations of the other most times are just too high. We are not communicating our needs. We are assuming that the other person should know. I'm thinking for the other person. The other person behaved in this manner. and I assume that it meant something different. That's why even when we go into the presence of God and we are asking for forgiveness of sins, we tell God, please forgive me of the known and unknown sins, which means that it's possible that your spouse might have offended you unknowingly. But if you don't talk about them, you harbor them, and it affects your output in the relationship. So most of the issues that happens over a period of time that makes you feel so tired, and should I go on, should I continue? Most of the times you should ask them, or you should put both of them together, say, but I thought you meant this. Because of what you did, I was thinking that this was what you meant. And for men, whatever happened yesterday, he has forgotten. But women harbor a lot. So if we can just learn to stop thinking for each other based on our actions and learn to communicate amongst ourselves as spouses and be transparent, knowing very well that my husband is not going to criticize me if I talk about this issue. He knows very well that he did not offend me intentionally, but I felt probably that per this action, I was offended. He should be able to say, I'm sorry about that, even though I didn't mean it. But the problem happens when you talk about it, but that wasn't what I meant. So it keeps piling. So the next time it happens, the person is not comfortable talking about it. Okay. But one thing leads to the other, and then by the time you realize, it becomes difficult to solve, because even the foundation, they can't even trace what started it. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Coco, let me just add, you see, how long does it take for you to get a first degree? Minimum of 4 years. How long does it take for you to get a driver's license?
Which were illegal or the illegal?
I know, right?
Of course, the legal one.
Okay. I wanted to be sure.
If you go to a good driving school,
Yeah.
it should be like
6 months.
6 months.
How long does it take for you to have your premarital counseling?
Minimum 6 months.
Minimum 6 months. So it means that your first degree is even more important than your marriage. You spend a lot of time to get this information just to prepare yourself for the corporate world. And you are going to spend 6 months maximum for an institution or a creation you are going to live in the rest of your life. Can you imagine? We raise our kids for the corporate world, but we don't raise them for the marital institution. That is one of the reasons why marriages are failing. You see, it's not just about information, but good information. The Bible says that knowledge shall be the stability of your time. So if you have that knowledge, your marriage will be stable. In everything you do, you have that stability. So the issue of, sometimes you hear people divorce and you ask them, why are you divorcing? Trivial issues. You know, he's not, I mean, he doesn't listen to me, or she doesn't respect me. That is no grounds for divorce. Commitment means that I'm going to be in the relationship irrespective of whatever happens. We are in it together. You know what? We got married. God gave me a very big picture, mirror of myself, and that's her. So anything I do to her actually is back to you. Exactly. And if she's successful, I'm successful. If she breaks down, I break down. So if you think about marriage in that kind of a way, why not? So you see men beating their wives. You hate yourself. Oh, men beat their wives. It means you hate yourself. It means that you hate yourself. You see, Coco, have you seen God before?
No, not at all. Who am I?
Biadela, have you seen God before? But you see, a very good...
Well, you wanted to say yes.
I almost said yes.
Okay.
He came to you?
Careful.
You see, to the layman, marriage, okay, is the portrait of God in the earth. If you can see a thriving, successful marriage based on biblical principle, you've seen God. Because, you see, when Adam was created and put in the earth, the devil never attacked. When the woman came, she came to complete the full picture. And the devil definitely will attack the image of God. So the reason why marriages are also under attack is because the devil has seen the full picture of God. He hates that image. If we understand it this way, you can actually discern, because we don't have to be ignorant of his devices.
I see. I think we can open the phone lines now because we have about some 20 minutes to end. I don't know.
Yeah.
As I said, as for these people, we might end up doing 2 days. Oh, the phone lines have been open already, we didn't know. Benjamin from Medina. Can you hear me, Benjamin?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me, Benjamin?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I have a question. Always, I have to be the one to initiate sexual intercourse between my wife and I. And I wanted to know if does it always have to be me initiating the sexual intercourse, or she can also do it? Because I feel like every time we get into that mood, I'm the one doing, everything. So I just want to ask, are the men always supposed to be the ones who start sexual intercourse before the lady gets to, get into the mood?
All right, thank you very much, Benjamin. I think I have the answer. They should do timetable.
You want to take that?
Yeah, let me take it. It's not meant for only men to initiate. I believe that so far as you are married, and it's in the marriage context, within the marriage context, you also own him as much as he owns you. And you have emotional needs as much as he has. So you can also take the initiative. However, the upbringings are different if you understand and you communicate amongst yourselves. That's why I said initially, let's not assume. Sit her down, talk to her about it. Is she comfortable? How was she raised? Does she even have knowledge about it? There are some families that also, there's some cultures that this is a no-go area. Even right now as we speak, there are lots of married people who are not comfortable when you talk about sex, even in the auditorium.
Right.
They are not comfortable. If the preacher man comes to say today we are talking about sex, there's going to be chaos. So you need to do a lot of education, and the two of you are supposed to be one. So talk about it in a nice setting, nice environment. Let you understand. I would love it if you also come around to what? Initiate. Let's partner in this game and we will have fun together. Okay. The excitement knowing that you initiated it is good for a man. So talk about it.
It's a communication problem. And also they need to see sex as an act of worship.
Yeah.
Okay, it's sacred. That is why on the 14th of February, if you're not married, you can't go about having sex.
You can't or you shouldn't.
You shouldn't go about. In fact, you shouldn't even try.
Yeah.
Let me
because
put the word. You shouldn't try it because when you do that, the other time I said you receive guests from hell because you are cutting a covenant. They are there with you. There must be witnesses there. Okay. If you look at the Old Testament tabernacle, okay, it has something to do with this sex thing. The Holy of Holies, the inner court, the outer court, where it is only the high priest who is supposed to enter. Only the high priest, not high priests. Okay? So what we call, hymen, we get the hymnal. The word hymnal. It's worship. If you have understanding of some of these things, you treat it as something sacred, not just a physical act and go.
I see. Reverend Tete is on the line. Hi, Reverend Tete. Good morning.
Hello.
Reverend Tete, can you hear me?
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
I could be better. I hope all is well with you too.
We are fine. A young man asked a question.
Yes.
About the wife not initiating sex. Hello?
Yes. We have 1 minute to talk to us. Let's go.
Okay. So that's the lady has what we call fear of rejection.
Okay.
The lady is afraid that when she initiates, the husband they refuse, then she becomes peeved. And some of those people need to be assured that they will not be rejected and then be encouraged to also initiate. And that is very, very important. The fear of rejection must be dealt with by the husband. And she will not reject her. And also the lady must understand that when the man even says no, it doesn't mean she'll be rejected. It is probably he is not in a very good physical condition to have sex. And thirdly, a lot of our training is such that people think it is a man who should initiate. And it is like a fourth woman who initiates sex. And the mind must also be disabused. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're grateful. Biadela tells me that they have timetable, days who must come, and what you have to wear and come and do. So probably
Role playing.
Let's talk about addictions and vices, right? Where you have it's a very difficult space. All right, so there are people who come in because of their past experiences. They're addicted to a lot of things. And of course, we mentioned that 6 months is not able to deal with some of these things. And then you meet a man who is overly addicted to issues of infidelity, addicted to probably sex, addicted to things around the house that you are not comfortable with, and vice versa. How do we begin to deal with that? Also, a man who is not ready to go to counseling and feels as though he's reported when they say, Pastor said you should come, or counselor said you should come.
Did you get to see these things before you got married? Or are you talking about the fact that they are now married and you're not seeing it? You see, I believe that red flags, can be raised at a single stage or state. Okay? And I always say that you have the opportunity to work on your character in your singlehood. When you work on your character, that character then becomes matured in marriage.
Right.
Okay? If you see or you saw all of these red flags, and it's like, I'm in love, let's get into it. When we marry, he will change or she will change. You are going to have to cope. You are going to have to endure. You see, marriage locks you up. Now, you want to go get a divorce, and this man says that, okay, I've not actually done anything to warrant a divorce. I'm not going to give you divorce. You still have to cope. You can't force a man into counseling. You can't force a woman into counseling. And there are cases we have on our table where people are like, the woman wants to come, but the man says, I'm not ready, I won't go. So you have to cope. You are not going to enjoy the marriage, you are going to endure it. It doesn't give you grounds to divorce. Till death do you part. So, Koku, if you ask that question, I believe that some of these things can be seen at the single or your dating stage. Okay. You can avert it. My wife will tell you that if you get to the altar, 11:59, and you are not convinced that this is the woman you want to be with or the man you want to be with, please decide, make a decision, and leave.
Go.
Hey,
Go. Kweku is on the line. Kweku, can you hear me? You have 1 minute. Let's hear you.
My watching.
Ja.
We have over there.
The culture.
Yo. Samana, Mr. Sowa, Kasano, Octavidi, concerning the Obana Bemambawari, Edomokwa, sorry, Devini, blah, which you know, Papa, no, which in the shop. But just of nowadays, no Mabano. Our Mokwa, sorry, Cacredino. Among Pesadi and Sibia, oh. Young Papa Fee, Ninko, Bicacana, Ubian, the peace of mind. Or the Cassin, one bay no, I saw them one of my on the war. I saw them on Penny Papa Fee, Bia, the Papa said 10 years, she and Papa signing my mistake. Omuna, she come on, almost Pesadiano. It is a more country, I'm more educated on powers because of the other so, they worry my CBAC, Mamma for by sea. At the end of the day, no. Who say, on the control as moose, or my cousin, because he will be brave, you could be. It's more kind for the monk can be a Panama or Momon Chase, because you'll be a breaker up on other top on the pass or the big idea.
Yes, I mean, sure. Koku, you should be explaining that in the next 2 minutes. Which is never possible. But I mean, he said that people want elaborate weddings, they want to go to the altar. I mean, like you said, we could. I know. The cake is like 10 TN. You have to,
It's an emotional day, so the cake is in tears.
Yes. I tell you, we've done dance floors and all that. So all the glitz and glamour that comes with it. And he says that he actually broke up with somebody because of that. So he's saying that you should actually, nail that part again, where we can have wedding or marriage ceremony in a very enclosed place, and it will last. You know.
want to take that?
Yes, I want to say that the wedding is just a day. The marriage is for life. We spend too much time planning a wedding and we forget to plan for the marriage.
Yeah.
It's okay if you have the means. There are some families that they have everybody to support. All the vendors, you can find them within the family setting. You can find someone into deco, into cosmetology, into all that, even caterers.
Yeah.
So you walk into, I'm talking to my young ladies, you can attend a friend's wedding, and whatever it is you see, please don't compare it to yours. Don't want to have the same, because the fingers are not the same. Think about the marriage, the aftermath. What are you going to do? If you're working, he's working, and you decide that, okay, we don't mind, let's budget it, we can afford it comfortably, and after the ceremony, we can still survive. It's okay if both of you agree. However, if he's saying this or you are saying that, it's okay to, I would advise or I would suggest that listen to each other. Make room for, okay, don't always want to have your way.
Yeah.
Let's adapt to each other and then understand. It's just a marriage. After all, it's a blessing you want.
Yeah.
So if you can get it in a family setting where 10 people are present, why not? If you want to go to the auditorium where there are 5,000, 10,000, the whole world is watching you and you can afford it, why not? But if the two of you don't agree, then I don't think the foundation itself is right.
Yeah.
Because just for the particular day you are not agreeing, then the number of years to come, how are you going to survive?
All those are red flags. You see, you prepare for the, ignore the temporary and invest in the permanent aspect of the marriage, okay? That is the key thing. And most times we put all our resources in the temporary and then we ignore rather the permanent, you know. Yeah.
There are a lot of people, you see, when you mention the coping mechanism or management, and of course, Mr. Asa also said that, coping. It's strange that a lot of people are enjoying marriage. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a number of people are. So what's the strategy in there where people say, I cannot be in here and die? Because women are depressed, men are also depressed, they are going through things, fear in the house, people are behaving like lions and all of that. Yeah. What do you tell them at this coping marriage? Also, making sure that you don't drive somebody to early grave.
Right, so, Koku, it is very important to know that the God who says he hates divorce is the same God who also says he hates treachery, okay? It boils down to the definition of marriage. If you see the person as a part of you, you wouldn't maltreat the person. You see, somebody comes and tells me, I want to marry. Your definition of marriage will tell me whether you are ready or you understand the institution. If you can't define, if my daughter comes to me and tells me, this guy says he loves me, I'll tell you, the fact that he loves you, love alone doesn't guarantee a successful marriage. So let him go back and come again, okay? Now, unfortunately, they have to cope. One thing they also have to do is to go see a professional counselor, somebody who has been trained in that area. Unfortunately, too, people are not ready to spend money to go see the counselor. They will spend the money to buy a Chrysler and not see a counselor. You know, they spend money to do so many things, but for that one thing that will help glue their marriage or solve their issues, they are not ready to do that. So it tells you and it tells me that many of us in the 21st century do not understand what marriage means. We think that it's like a product. I buy you, I own you. Anytime I want to dispose you of, I just let you go and then go find myself. And the dangerous thing is for you to go and have a side chick. You see, do you know adultery is even more dangerous than fornication? They are both sin. One has to do with covenant. With the other one, there is no covenant or commitment in it. Okay, but they are both sin. And what happens is that if anybody goes out to commit adultery, okay, for example, God forbid, if I go commit adultery, I'm doing it with my spouse involved.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because the two shall become one. And when that happens, that's why when it comes to the issue of sex, I'm very passionate about that, because you're a young lady, this man sleeps with you, he's already slept with about 400 people, and that's your first time with him. It means that you have slept with 400 and what? One person. Just for the fact that you are doing it for the first time. Okay? And if the person sleeps with you, the sperms, the medical doctors will tell you, apart from getting into the womb, it seeps through the wall of the womb, gets to your spine. Okay? So a lady who has had about 4 or 5 men, these men have left their DNA in her. So if your family, you have issues like, issues like diabetes, and these 3 people you slept with have issues of maybe hypertension and stroke, it's been added to yours. So you ask yourself, in this family, you don't record this kind of ailment. Where is it coming from? Somebody needs to be investigated.
Pink sheets.
Thank you. Bring all the pink sheets and let's look at all these things. And unfortunately, many of our young ones want to defile the marital bed before they marry. That foundation has been cracked. Trust you me, you're not going to have a successful marriage until you come together, you recount, you denounce and go through deliverance, trust God to live a clean life, then you can. But once sex starts the foundation, and many divorce and many issues that we see in marriages today is because somebody had sex before marriage.
I want to add that.
Please add.
I want to add that people are finding themselves, or people find themselves in marriages that are bleeding, and they don't know who to talk to. They are talking to the right people, the wrong people, who are telling them every day that your husband is wrong or your wife is wrong. I also want to suggest to men, married men, that please, if your wives want to talk, listen to them. Because if you don't listen to a woman, your wife, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Just as we hear people say, if you don't take care of your husband, another lady will. Please listen to your wives. Because women talk. We talk because we need to be heard. And if we talk to the wrong people, we bring you issues at home. So if you're going through difficult times, believe God, speak to the right people. If you go to family, obviously they're not going to be fair. They'll be on your side. But you need people who can tell you in the face that, Josephine, you are wrong. You need to go to your husband and apologize. And that person should be somebody you respect. So you will listen and you will go and solve your problems. Not someone who will just tell you, or because the person had a difficult relationship, so the person is relating and trying to settle his or her scores in your home.
Yeah.
It could even be your mom, or your brother, or your sister, or somebody very close to you. They feel your pain. So when you go to them, you don't tell them the truth. And they also don't probe in to know the truth. But if you get to speak to the right person, if you can't afford a counselor, at least talk to the right person.
Please put your number out there before we get overly excited. So that anybody who wants to call, that's fine with you, right?
That's fine with me.
Okay, right.
024 70 16 944.
We'll go again.
024 70 16 944. She says something, women talk. You see, it is said that women have about 13,000 words to use in a day. Men have 5,000 words, okay? So if you go to work and you exhaust all your words as a man, please know that you have somebody to listen to, okay? So when you come back home, just sit down. Just listen. They want you to listen. Please listen, okay?
And it will listen. And listen.
Maybe Mr. and Mrs. will have to come back again.
Yes.
Maybe the final day. The final day.
Because I would want to know how some ways the woman would initiate the sex, so that, the ladies who don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do. What do I do? Hey, come, let's do it quickly. Or how do I go about it? I would want that practicality.
Yeah. So maybe when we come back again, we want you back again. Production is production's call. But thank you very much for your time. We're grateful. This is Mr. and Mrs. Sowa, of course. Yeah, I know you're expecting these, of course, obviously. It's them and it's them. But thank you very, very much. But final words in a minute?
Well, with my final word, I would just want to say, youth, stop destroying your lives with sex. It's a serious thing. When you start with that, automatically, know for a surety you're going to struggle in your marriage. Okay? The Word of God says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Don't destroy the foundation. Bible says, walk in love, not fall in love. You fall because of distraction. Love is the path you walk on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say that never try to change your spouse. Change yourself to live with your spouse, and you love your marriage. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wow. When are you having dinner at home? I'll be there.
You're always invited.
You're always welcome.
Serve kinky.
Oh, don't you
love it
like
too.
a work plan at the man?
Oh, I'm moving.
Those of you are taunting me in my inbox. I don't like that. They said when the tree came on, my face. What's your problem?
That's very true. Very, very true.
We'll take a break. When we come back, there's more. Stay with us.